Okey, boleh nampak skrin saya?
Boleh.
Boleh doktor.
Okay. Right, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. So hari ni kita masuk chapter 4. Okay. So last time we have learned about how to create GUI, graphical user interface, using Java. So now we move into a new chapter, but it is still related to GUI, which is event-driven programming, right? So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain the concept of event-driven programming for GUI application. Okay, to understand event source and event classes, to know how to register listener objects with source objects and to implement listener interface. And lastly, to understand how an event is handled. Seems to be complicated, but actually it's not. Okay, it is not. Firstly, at first you will learn about all the theories, and later on you will learn about all the implementation, meaning the coding part. So when we reach into the coding part, I'm sure that you have a better picture of what is event-driven is all about. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin. Right. So introduction to event-driven programming. So in the previous lesson, we have learned about GUI. We learn how to create GUI. We learn how to create labels, how to create text fields, text area, buttons, windows, and so on. So in GUI, mostly we use two packages, two libraries, which is either Java Swing or Java AWT, or we can use both. Okay, normally we use both. Normally we will import both package. Okay, however, whatever that you have learned previously, that was just GUI without any process or interaction involved. Okay, for example, whenever a button is clicked, okay, or it can be other operations such as typing, mouse movement, etc. So if you still remember last time, we create a GUI to enter the user's address, user's name, and also address, and then we have a submit button, right? And then when we click submit button, actually nothing happened. Same like this lah. Okay, let's say we only create the UI, but we haven't create the process yet. Okay, we haven't create the, or we can call it as interaction, okay, between the program and the user, meaning that whenever we click the calculate button, nothing happen, or we click exit button, nothing happen. Why? Because we haven't code the event, okay, the event itself or the process. Okay, an action when a user interacts with a UI component, such as clicking a button, is called an event. So this is called an event. Whenever we click the calculate button, and then it appears something, it appears some result, for example, that is what we call as event. Okay, meaning that there is an interaction between the program itself and you as the user. So that is what it means by event. An event. Okay, the process of responding to an event is called event handling. Okay, this is just theories or just term. Don't worry. Okay, you don't need to memorize all of this. Okay, common events that cause an application to perform a task. For example, clicking a button. So these are types of event that can be created using event-driven programming. For example, when we click a button, something happen. When we typing in a text, okay, it will pop up some message. For example, if you write or you type an email, but that email is not in the exact format of an email, so it will pop up an error message, for example. Okay, that is an event. Selecting an item from menu, closing a window, or moving moving a mouse. For example, if you hovering on some certain area and then it will pop up something. That one is called an event. Right, the code that perform the task in response to an event is called event handler. Okay, the code that you will gonna be typing later on, okay, it is called as event handler. Again, this is just terms, okay? This is just a term. Right, event handling is implemented by two types of object. Okay, just a recap. What is event handling? The process of responding to an event. Okay, responding to an event. So what are event? Event is something like this: clicking button, typing in a text field, selecting an item, and so on. Okay, so event handling. Event handling is implemented by two types of object. Okay, the first object is event source, and then the second one is event listener. Okay, what is event source? Event source is a GUI object which an event occurs. We say an event source generates event. Okay, event source is actually a GUI object. What are GUI objects? It can be buttons, it can be text box, list box, menus, and you name it. Okay, so most of the things that you have code in the previous lab, okay, those are GUI objects or GUI components. Okay, so the UI objects includes button, text box, list box, and so on. Okay, most of those are GUI objects. We call it as GUI objects. So these GUI objects we call as event source. Okay, the source of the event. Okay, and then we have the second one is event listener object. So what is event listener? Event listener object is an object that includes a method, okay, that gets executed in response to the generated events. Okay, for example, we have event source. For example, a button. This is a submit button. So this is what we call as event. I write it in short form lah. Event source. Okay, this is event source, and then we have what we call as event listener. Okay. So this is event listener. So as the name suggests, event listener, okay, pendengar, okay. So what it will do? This is actually a code, okay. So what this code will do is actually it will keep listening whether this submit button is clicked or not. It will always in ready mode, okay, always in a ready mode. Okay, this code will be always in a ready mode, waiting for this button, this submit button to be clicked. Okay, then it will respond to whatever process that you want. For example, this is submit button, right? You want the, let's say the information will be written in the database. Okay, in the database. Then your code over here will contain whatever process or instruction that will include information from this to this database. Okay, so event listener is a code, okay, that always listen or always in a ready mode, okay, to perform an operation, okay, whenever this button, submit button, is clicked. This is just one example lah. It is not necessarily a button. It can be what, text field, okay. It can be from drop down list. It can be when you click the close button of a window, okay. So event source can be a lot of GUI components, okay, GUI object. So event listener is actually the code itself, okay, or in the programming part we call it as a method lah, okay, function, okay, that gets executed in response to the generated event. So a listener must be associated or registered to a source so it can be notified when the source generates event. Okay, let's say you have more than one GUI object. Let's say you have submit button, and then you have, let's say, a clear button, okay, to clear all the information that the user has entered. Okay, so this dedicated clear button should also have its own event listener objects. Okay, it cannot combine. Okay, this is the submit button has one code, one code, and then the clear button also have another code. Okay, so each event listener must be associated. Okay, it must be paired. It must be paired uh, with the particular objects, with the particular GUI objects. Okay, boleh faham tak setakat ni? Kelas? Faham tak? Okay. An event listener must be registered to an event source, like I mentioned before. Okay, once registered, it will get notified when the event source generates an event. Okay, so this event listener is registered to this J button. Okay, so whenever this J button is clicked, okay, it will the information will be go to this handler or go to this event listener, okay, to be executed. Okay, whatever process that will be that is resided over here will be executed. Right, creating an event listener. An event listener can be created using action listener class. So you in your code, in your program, you need to call this class. Okay. It can be used by adding the implements statement to the class definition. Okay, later on I will show an example. Previously, you have learned about inheritance, right? So when we want to inherit some class, we use the extends, okay, extend statement. But this time, when we want to use event listener, we use implements. Okay, why we use implements, not extend? Because actually this class is not a pure class. It is called as interface. Okay, but that one will not be covered in our syllabus. But it is called as interface. It is a type of class, but a little bit different. So that's why when we want to inherit or we want to use this class, this particular class, we use implements because this is a class, but it is type of interface class. Okay, it's not a pure class. Okay. Action listener class resides in java.awt.event package. Therefore, we need to import it first. Okay, so in your program, on the top, you need to write import java.awt.event semicolon. Right? The main function of action listener is to listen the action. For example, any click of a button, and then on any GUI components. Okay, for example, button lah. Okay, we click a button, right? And then when the button is clicked, right? Action listener class contains only one method, that is action perform. So action listener, okay, is an interface class. Okay, this is action listener, right? Okay, under this action listener, there is a method called action perform. Okay, this is a class type of interface class. Okay, this is method. Okay, under this action listener, we have a method called action perform. The method action perform handles all the action of a component, and inside this method, you will define or write your own codes that will be executed when an action occurred. Okay, so this is a predefined method. Okay, action perform, this one is a predefined method, which mean that it is already exists, okay, within this action listener class. Okay, so in your code you need to name it as it is, which is action perform. You cannot write in different names. Okay, awak kena tulis exactly like this, action perform. What you need to do is just override the content of the method. Okay, the name still remain, okay, action perform, but the content of the method, that one you need to override. You need to define yourself. You need to define or write your own codes that will be executed when an action performed. Based on whatever process that you want to do lah. Okay. Okay, I'll show you some example. This is actually our previous example from chapter 3. Okay. So what we have here is a window. It's a form. Okay, it's a form which asks the user to enter name and his address, and then submit button. So last time when we click submit button, nothing happened. Okay, so this is the original source code lah. Okay, the original code without any event listener. Okay, so now we will learn, okay, to add event listener to this code. Okay, this is the original code. So what we need to do? Firstly, okay, we need to put import java.awt.event .star, okay, then semicolon. Okay, so put on top, okay, put on top after the java.awt. And then secondly, declare an event listener. Just now I mentioned we need to use the action listener class, right? So how we define this? By using the implement statement. Okay, this is the original one. Okay, this is until this is okay, this is the original. Okay, so we need to add this one, implements action listener. Okay, that is the second step. Okay, the third step, we need to add a listener to the desired GUI component. In this case, we want an event occurred when the submit button is clicked. Therefore, we add a listener to J button. Okay. Take a look back of this window. Okay, there are one, two, three. There are three objects of GUI, right? We have label. This is J label. This is J text area. Sorry, text field. This is J text field. This is J text area. This is J button. So there are four. Okay, actually four GUI objects here. We need to determine which one we need to put the listener, the event listener. Okay. Of course, in this case, we want it to execute some process whenever the submit button is clicked, right? So the rest is not necessary to put the event listener as of now lah. Okay, as of now, because this is just to write the name and also the address. Okay, we want to have an action or an event whenever the submit button is clicked. Therefore, we need to add the listener to J button only. Okay, as of now lah. Okay, so this is okay, this is the original until this one. Okay, look at number 3 over here. We put B1. What is B1? B1 is button. J button B1. We create an instance of J button, name B1, and then B1 dot add action listener. Okay, we call this function add action listener, and then inside the brackets we put this. This is referring to this one. Okay. In some condition, you need to put the instance over here. Let's say you have J button B2, for example. You put B2 over here. But this one, you put this to reflect that this is the same as the instance is this, the instance that is associated with the action listener is this one, B1. So we put this. Okay, this is a predefined statement. Okay. Okay, step number 4, we need to put the add action perform method inside the class. So we need to write public void action perform. Okay, must be public void. Okay, public void action perform, and then we call the class of action event, and then put any instance. Okay, whatever instance of your choice, you put over here. This one is compulsory. Okay, the name must be exact like this one, action perform, P capital. Okay, capital P. Okay, fifthly, we need to write our own code inside the action perform method according to our preference on how the program will react after the submit button is clicked. In this example, let's say we just display the information. Let's say we just display, okay, display the information entered to a dialog box. Okay, so in this example, what we want to do is whenever the user click the submit button, we just display back the information that has been entered into a dialog box. Okay, into a dialog box. So inside this action perform, what we will write is something like this. String name equal to tf1. What is tf1? tf1 is this one, text field. Okay, because the user will write his name inside the text field, right? That's why over here we put tf1 dot get text. Get text is a method. Okay, as the name suggests, get text meaning that we try to obtain, this function will obtain whatever information that has been written inside the J text field. Okay, so tf1 is for, it will obtain or it will extract whatever whatever name whatever that has been written by the user in text field 1, and then we create another string to store what or to obtain whatever that is written in text area 1. Text area 1 is for address, right? EA1. Okay, EA1 is this one. Okay, next we call the show message dialog function in order to display the name and the address. So what we will do is F is in the instance of JFrame. Okay, instance of JFrame. Hello, name, you live in, address. Okay, so this is the output. Okay, name, address, Batu Pahajar, and then when the user click the submit button, and then it will display hello Ahmad, you live in Batu Pahajar. So this is just a simple example of an event listener. Tomorrow, I know tomorrow is holiday, right? But I still will give lab assignment for you to do lah. For you to do as your homework later on. So in your lab, there will be another examples of event listener. Okay, event listener, and then you need to add some additional code. Okay, in order to complete the whole thing. Okay, this is just a simple example of what what is an event listener. Okay, based on our previous example. Okay, any questions on event listener? Ada apa-apa soalan tak?
No, Doctor.
Okay, good. So, again, remember, in order to create an event listener, first thing you need to call the java.availability.event.star, okay, and then put implements action listener. Whatever class that you name it, okay, you put implements action listener. If you don't use this one, okay, some of you may write JFrame as object declaration, right? JFrame f equal to new JFrame, something like that. You don't use like this. Okay. Also put implements action listener. Although your class doesn't have the extend statement. Okay, that is the second one. The third one, you need to put the listener to the desired GUI objects or GUI component. If you want the submit button to react whenever the submit button is clicked, then you put the listener to the button. Okay. In this example, because the submit button, because we want to display the name and address when the submit button is clicked, so we put the add action listener associated with B1. So B1 dot add action listener under brackets, inside the bracket this. Okay. And then you need to put,
Doktor,
yes.
ada orang nak masuk tapi tak dapat. Tak sure lah. Saya dah suruh dia request lagi. Tak sure ada ke tak.
Ya. Cuba suruh dia masuk lagi.
Okey, kejap doktor.
Okay. So yang keempat tadi, okay, step number 4, add the action perform method. Okay. So let's say this is your code. Put the action perform after this lah, after this close bracket, curly brackets, and then put the public void right over here. Put the public void action perform. Okay, before the main. And then you need to define what is the process, your desired process. Okay, apa proses yang awak nak buat kalau whenever the button is clicked. So in this example, we just want to show back whatever that has been entered by the user. So firstly, we need to obtain whatever that has been whatever that has been written by the user. So we use the get text function. Okay, the user will write inside this text field and also this text area. So we need to obtain those. Okay, how we can obtain? By using get text. Okay, tf1 is text field 1 to store the name, text area 1 to store the address, get text. Okay, and then put in this variable address and name. And then we call show message dialog to display back whatever that has been entered. Hello name, you live in address. Okay, so this is the final result. Ada apa-apa soalan? Any question?
Doctor, what is the meaning of the action event E?
What is the meaning? This one.
Yeah, action event E.
Action event E. Okay. Tomorrow, for in our lab tomorrow, I will show you what is action event E. Okay. I need to have some example in order for me to explain. So for tomorrow, I will record a video. Okay, I will record a video explaining about the lab. Okay, explain a little bit about the code, and then inside that code we have this one. So in that video I will explain. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, if you don't have any other further questions, I would like to discuss on your test. Okay, your previous test. Not that I want to make another test. Okay, I have released your test, your mark on your test on author. You can try check it. Okay, saya rasa ada dekat bahagian mark. If I'm not mistaken, it's already in the mark tab. If I'm not mistaken, so you can check your marks. The full mark for test is 50. Okay, full mark is 50, but later on in your carry mark, it will contribute only 20%. Okay, so from 50 marks, you will only take 20% of those lah. That is for your test. For quiz, I haven't finished marking yet. Okay, later on, if I have finished, I will announce. So I want to discuss on the answer. Okay. Okay, boleh nampak skrin saya?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. Question number 1. Consider the following code segment in figure Q1. Okay. Identify what is wrong with the code segment shown in figure Q1. If the value of score is 75 and suggest what is to be added to solve this problem. Okay. I notice there are two versions of answers. Although my preference is only one approach. Okay, my preference only one approach. So, what is wrong with this one? If the score is 75, obviously, when the score is 75, it should be, the grade should be C, right? Okay, the grade should be C because 75 is between 70 and 80. Okay, 75 is more than 70. But in this code, okay, whenever the score is 75, it will always print out D. The grade will always D. Why? Because it matches the first clause. It matches the first the first clause, the first rules, which is 75 is actually more than 60. Okay, logically it is correct, but what you want the result is C. Okay, we want the result is to be C. We want the program to display C, not D. Okay, so there are some of you that answer that in this part, right, suggestion what is to be added. Okay, I already put the hint over here, what is to be added. Okay, not what is to be modified. Okay, some of you might answer it, the code is not the score is not put in order, so we need to modify the code to put in order, something like that. Okay, I accept that answer. Okay, don't worry, I accept the answer, and you get full marks if you answer like that. But I think the most appropriate way to do this is by using AND operator, meaning that this code is lack of range. Okay, so for this one, we just put the AND operator. For example, score more than equal to 60, and then we put AND operator over here. Okay, and then score less than or equal to 69. Okay, because the next range will start with 70, right? So this is, we must stop until 69, and then this one until 79. Okay. So in the real work, in the real implementation, let's say if you, let's say after you graduate, you become a programmer in a company, you have something like this. The most appropriate or optimized way to do this is by using the range, okay, by using the AND operator, meaning that we put range on each if else clause. If you put something like you put in order, for example, you put the largest score on the top, 90, 80, 70, 60. Okay, you put 90 on the top and then 60 at the bottom. Nothing wrong with that, but it is not optimized, meaning that your code will be longer, okay, and then it will take your times, okay, because you need to sort out all the scores, okay. You need to properly sort out. If you not properly sort out, and then your answer will be wrong, okay. However, if you just put range over here, you just put an operator, it doesn't matter. Let's say I want to put this at the bottom, this one I put at the bottom, okay, still the answer is still correct, which is C, okay, although you don't put in order, because it only rely on the range itself. It doesn't rely on the what we call the order of the score, okay. So the best answer should be you put the AND operator as a range lah, okay, as a range. Okay, that is for Q1A. Okay, Q1A, any question? Ada apa-apa soalan? Okay, ya. Okay, Q1. Okay, Q1B. Modify the code with the correct code segment based on your answer in Q1A. So this one is according to your what you answer in A lah. If you answer it is not in order, and then you put starting from 90, 80, 70, 60 lah. Okay. And then if you answer as to put the AND operator, then you put lah AND operator. So both will consider as full marks lah. Okay. Okay, finish question 1. Question 2. Translate the following pseudocode in figure Q2 into Java. Okay, start. Okay, this one most of you got it correct lah. But some of you until this part display hello, first name, last name, your age is 8 years old. Some of you write system.out.println. But you did something like %d. Agak ramai juga yang buat macam ni. %d age. Okay, correct or wrong?
Excuse me, Doktor.
Yes?
Ada orang nak masuk, Doktor.
Suruh dia masuk sekarang.
Okey, Doktor. Dah masuk, Doktor?
Masuk Doktor. Masuk Doktor.
Okay. Okay, betul ke salah kalau buat macam ni? Salah kan?
Salah, Doktor.
Okay, sepatutnya macam mana? Okay, awak nak buat macam ni tak salah, boleh. Awak nak buat macam C kan? Tapi bukan print line. It should be printf. Okay. Ataupun if I'm not mistaken, you can use format. Okay, either two. If you want to put something like C, okay, by using the %d to display integer, %f to print float, you need to use system.out.format or printf. If you use print line, then you will get error. Okay, that is Q2. Okay, Q3. Q3, for Q3A, I think less than half answer it correctly lah. Bukan nak kata totally wrong, but it's not that accurate lah. Okay. Analyze the following code segment shown in figure Q3. So, A, do you think it is the best way to implement the above approach if there is a lot of numbers to be entered? Okay. So, must be no lah. Okay, walaupun ada juga yang jawab yes. Okay, ada berapa orang. Okay, so the correct answer must be no. And then give one reason to support your answer. Okay, kat sini yang ramai salah ni. Give one reason to support your answer. I'm not asking you to what is the solution. I'm asking you why is not the best way to implement this approach. Okay, so for those who answer the code will be longer, I will accept. Okay, the code will be longer, and then there will be a lot of variables to be declared. Okay, let's say in this example, this program asks user 3 times, right? Ask user 3 times. This is the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. Okay, the program asks the user 3 times. Let's say there are 100 times. Okay, 100 nombor yang perlu the user key in. So you need to create number one variable until number 100. Okay, which make your code longer. Okay, so for those who answer, the code will be longer. Will be a lot of variables to be declared. That is the correct one lah. Okay, although it is 2 marks lah. So siapa yang jawab for the first one, kalau yang jawab no tu, okay, dapat 1 mark. Kalau yang lagi satu ni, if your answer is we must use for loops. Okay, that is not the answer. Okay, the answer should be why this code is not the best implementation. Okay, some of you answered the code is not tidy or something like that. That one I also accept lah. Okay, and then rewrite the code segment in figure Q3 using for loop. So just using for loop, this one remain, this one also remain. So what need to be changed is this only type once, okay, but need to put in for loops. Okay, put in for loops. Okay, this one there are a lot of you got it wrong. You put the min inside the for loop. Okay, whereas the answer should be this min should be put outside the for loops. Okay, kalau katakan looping ni ada 100 kali. Okay, 100 kali. So dia akan calculate min 100 times, whereby we only calculate min only 1 times. Okay, we need to find the total of 100 numbers, sum up it all the 100 numbers, sum up, and then divide by 100 lah. For example, this is 3, right? Okay, so the min should be outside the for loop. Some of you put the min inside the for loop, so that is wrong. Okay, okay, dia nak tanya question 3. Alright, question 4. consider the following code segment in figure Q4. What is the difference between the statement written in line 4 and line 6? Line 4, line 6. Okay, siapa yang jawab? Line 4 is no argument constructor, while line 6 is parameterized constructor. That is correct. Okay. Ada yang jawab this is mutator and then this one is assessor. That one is wrong. This is constructor. Why it is called as constructor? Because it has the same name as the class name. So whenever the name is the same with the class name, it is called as constructor. So constructor, there are 3 types of constructor. Okay, default constructor, non-argument. This one is non-argument. And then the last one, parameterized. Parameterized means there will be parameters inside the brackets. Okay, ada parameters. Okay, non-argument meaning that there is no parameters, nothing inside the brackets. Okay, so for those who answer non-argument and parameters, you are correct lah. Between line 4 and line 6, which one is suitable if the instance of the class is car? Justify your answer. Okay, the class name is vehicle. Okay, the class is vehicle. Let's say we create an instance of vehicle, car equal new vehicle. Okay. Okay, between line 4 and line 6, which one is suitable if the instance of the class is a car? Okay, this is logically thinking lah. A car must have how many tires? A car should have how many tires? Class.
4.
Alright. So which one is suitable? Either this one or this one. Line 4 or line 6?
Line 6.
Yes, the answer must be line 6. If you put line 4, if you answer it as line 4, okay, tire is already assigned to number 2, which means the car has only two tires. You cannot change it. Okay, you cannot change it. Because why? Because you already assigned the value of tire is 2. Whereas, okay, in line 6, in the parameterized constructor, you can change it. Okay, you can change, you can you can put the value of your own, meaning that this one you put 4. So that's why line 6 is suitable. Okay, as compared to line 4. Okay, soalan ni awak kena fikir sendiri lah sebab dia car kan, dia punya example car. Kalau saya letak motorcycle, then jawapannya boleh jadi dua-dua lah. You boleh guna non-parameterized, no argument constructor, or you juga boleh guna parameterized if you want to. Okay. Okay, C. Rewrite the statement in line 6 using mutator. Okay, ni ramai yang confused ni. Okay, rewrite the statement in line 6. Line 6 is one using mutator. Okay, I think I have already mentioned in lecture. Mutator can also be replaced. Sorry, a constructor can be replaced by a mutator, and vice versa. Meaning that if you have mutator, you can also represent it as constructor. You can use either one. Let's say you are a programmer later on, after this, after finishing study in UTSM, you become a programmer. It is up to you whether you want to use constructor like this or you want to use mutator. The only different things between mutator and constructor is the definition, or the way you write it. Okay, how you define it. If you want to use constructor, how you define it is by using the same name of the class lah. Okay, if the class is vehicle, then put vehicle brackets. If you want to use mutator, normally we put void set. Okay, most of you, not most lah, some of you put set vehicle because the name of constructor is vehicle, then you put vehicle. Nothing wrong with that, actually, nothing wrong with that. But the exact one should be, you need to set the variables of that class. Okay, the variables. So in this class, the only variable that we have is tire. So we put set tire. If you put set vehicle, nothing wrong with that. It's okay, nothing wrong with that. But okay, let's say you have this one private INT tire. Let's say you have another one, private INT DOS, for example. So which mutator is for which member variables? You need to define. Okay, we want to set what? Set tire or set door? You cannot put it as set vehicle. Okay, that's why you need to put the variable name after the set. Okay, set what? Set tire. Okay, set tire. And then what you should put? NT E tire equal to T. So this is the correct answer. Okay, this is mutator. The role of mutator and constructor is the same actually. Okay, just the way you define it different. Okay, tire equal to T. In constructor also tire equal to, sorry, this one. In tire also, in vehicle constructor also tire equal to T. It's same purpose, but the way you define it is a little bit different. So that's why later on, if you, let's say if it has happened that you use Java, okay, during your work or whatever, you have the choice of you have the freedom whether to use constructor or to use mutators. It's up to you, okay. But because of now you are learning, right? Learning Java, taking the Java course. So I just teach you on the way you can set the each of the variable inside a class. So there are a lot of ways, right? Either using constructor or using mutators. Okay. Void set tire INTT. Okay, some of you might write not void. You put INT. Some of you put INT. INT set tire, and then nothing set here. This is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. Maybe I only give mark on this one because this one is correct. But the definition is totally wrong. Okay, you should start with void. Mutators, you should start with void. If you start with data type over here, that one must be assessor. I hope my explanation is clear for you. So assessor must be right, starting with data type. Why I start with INT? Because tire is INT. Okay, let's say if tire is string, then put string lah over here. Okay, so INT what? We put the get keyword. Get what? Get tire. Okay, and then for assessors, there will be no parameters inside the brackets. Because it starts with data type, okay, INT data type, therefore we need to use the return keyword. Return what? Return tire. Okay, so this one should be void set tire. INT T tire equal T. Okay, I notice some of you write tire. Okay, you write tire and then you write something like this dot tire equal to tire. I assume you are diploma student lah if you write like this. Okay, this is also correct. Okay, but I didn't teach you in our lecture. Okay, here's the thing. Let's say the parameters over here for my style. Okay, if the variable is tire, I take the initial alphabet over here. If tire start with T, so I put INTT. That is my style and my way of writing mutators. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Let's say you don't like this way. You want to have exact name of the variable. Okay, ni tire. Kat sini pun you nak letak tire juga. Boleh, tak ada masalah. Type tire. And then, however, inside this code, inside the mutators, you need to put this keyword. Okay, this is the predefined statement. Okay, predefined. It's already in Java. This dot tire, meaning that this dot tire is referring to tire, this tire. Okay, this dot tire, this is referring, this keyword is actually referring to line number 6. Okay, tire over here. Tire over here equal to tire what? Tire over here. Tire in line 15. Okay. So there are two ways of writing this. Okay, I just teach you one way because I don't want you to be confused. Now, because some of you might know this one, so I just reveal lah. There are two ways actually. So you can have, I name it as exactly as the variable name INT tire, but you need to put this keyword. Okay, don't forget to put this, otherwise you're getting error lah. Okay. Okay, understood. Boleh faham tak? Ada apa persoalan? Okay.
No.
Tak ada doktor.
Okay. Okay, tadi sampai mana? C ya. Rewrite the statement in line 6 using mutator. Okay, construct an accessor for class vehicle. Okay, ni saya dah jawab boleh dah. Okay, ada juga ramai yang terbalik macam saya cakap tadi lah. Terbalik. Kat sini dia letak void get tire and then ada parameters kat sini. Okay, ada yang tak letak return pun ada juga. Okay. Jadi sepatutnya yang guna void ialah mutator. Okay. Yang ada data type should be the accessor. Okay. Boleh juga kalau get tire ni awak tak nak guna return data type, meaning that you write it as void get tire also can. So inside this one, what you put is system.out.println tire. Okay. This is the way if you don't want to use return data type. Okay. Okay, last question. E. Create two instance name car and motorcycle, set and get the value of tire based on the code that you written in Q4C and Q4D. So kat sini jelas, okay. The question asks you clearly that you need to set, okay, and get the value of the tire based on the code you have written in C and D, meaning that you need to use the mutator and the accessor that they have written. Kat sini pun ramai yang salah. Dan jawapannya sama. Okay. So saya a bit suspicious lah. Okay. Untuk E ni ramai yang jawapannya sama tapi salah. Okay. So ramai yang jawab, saya lupa lah, tapi ramai yang jawab salah. Dan stylenya semua sama. So apa yang awak perlu buat, you need to create an instant vehicle car, new vehicle, motorcycle vehicle, okay, ini saya bagi markah lah. Okay, this one mark, this one another one mark. Okay, and then set and get. Okay, set we use the mutator, so set tire. So car dot set tire. Okay. So berapa kita nak letak? 4. Motorcycle dot set tire 2. Okay. So most of you write motorcycle dot get tire, not set tire, but you use get tire, and then you put apa ni, value kat sini. Okay, itu salah. Get set and get the value of the tire. Okay, itu je lah. So lagi satu kena displaykan. Car has kat sini kita guna car dot what? Dot get. We want to retrieve back the value of 4. So we use get tire. And as okay, so ni jawapan dia. Sebab yang kat sini salah ramai, agak ramai. Yang atas betul. Yang kat sini banyak yang salah ni. Saya tak pasti sama ada awak memang tak faham ke, ataupun awak tak study ke, ataupun macam mana. Saya pun tak pasti. Takat ni clear tak? Boleh tak yang ni?
Boleh doktor.
Okay. So nanti untuk final maybe ada soalan macam ni lagi. Akan ada apa ni, constructor, mutators, assessors ni mungkin awak akan jumpa lagi lah. Okay, so make sure awak apa ni faham betul-betul. Tolong masa final tolong jangan bincang Tolong jangan bincang. Saya minta sangat awak jujur pada diri sendiri, bukan jujur pada saya. Jujur pada diri awak sendiri. Sebab saya pun tak tahu. Kalau awak jujur pada saya pun tak tahu sama ada betul-betul kalau awak jujur ke tak. Yang tahu jujur ke tak ni diri awak sendiri saja. Sebab itu saya nak awak jujur pada diri sendiri. Okay, bila jawab tu jujur pada diri sendiri. Kalau tak faham cuba tanya. Okay, video kebanyakannya lepas kelas memang saya letak video. Okay, kalau tak faham cuba tengok balik. Kalau tak faham juga cuba tanya kawan. Boleh tanya saya. Boleh buat reference kat mana-mana apa source, ada sources lah, internet banyak. YouTube pun ada. Okay, cuba usahakan. So bila awak achieve achieve kejayaan based on your usaha awak sendiri, je lain tau. Okay, berbanding kalau awak meniru ke, awak tengok tempat lain ke kan, awak berbincang ke, je lain. Okay, dan ini penting, programming ni penting untuk awak as IT graduates. Sebab apa saya cakap penting? Sebab nanti bila awak kerja, awak akan guna balik. Katakan awak nak kerja dalam bidang IT juga lepas habis ni. Most probably awak akan jumpa balik semua benda ni. Okay, awak akan jumpa balik. Saya tengok ada yang jawab, ada soalan if else tu yang nombor 1 pun ada yang tak dapat jawab dengan betul. Itu basic tu. Itu sangat basic if else. Sebab awak belajar if else daripada year 1, daripada from year 1 lagi dah belajar if else. Ni dah tahun ketiga. So suppose should be no problem lah. Kalau tak nanti awak nak kerja memang banyak masalah. Dan saya cakap ni based on pengalaman saya sebab sebelum saya jadi lecturer, saya bekerja di industri. Jadi saya tahu apa yang berlaku kat industri. Memang awak akan jumpa balik. Unless awak nak kerja IT tapi bukan dalam bidang development. Okay, mungkin awak nak pergi graphic designer ke, kan, you nak jadi animator ke, then that one you don't need any programming skills lah for sure. But you need to have creativity lah. Kalau awak nak ke arah situ, bidang IT tapi ke arah animation, editing, sound editing, something like that, you can, but you need to have passion on arts lah. And also you need to have the creativity of your own. Okay. Ataupun you boleh pergi networking. Okay, networking memang tak ada programming. Jarang lah jumpa ada programming kalau network. Tapi you need to have a good skills on Linux. Okay, Linux, you need to know all the commands, okay, in order to set up the Linux server. Okay, kalau kena hack, you kena tahu kat router mana yang orang ni hack, kat port mana, tu awak kena tahu kalau you tak nak pergi programming. Okay, tapi kalau you pergi IT and then you bidang development, you buat sistem ke, you buat Android based punya apps ke, kan, you akan jumpa balik semua ni. Cuma bezanya mungkin programming language, mungkin you tak guna Java, mungkin you guna C#, okay, mungkin you guna Python dan macam-macam lagi. So apa yang awak belajar kat universiti ni adalah semuanya asas, baru asas. Nanti bila you pergi industri, you akan jumpa lagi macam-macam, lagi complicated. Okay, lagi complicated. Sebab awak bila bekerja nanti awak solve the real issue, awak solve the real problem. Okay, contoh orang yang develop MySejahtera tu, okay, dia develop sistem based on real case, based on situasi yang sebenar. Okay, macam-macam bug ada. Macam hari tu siapa nak mohon AstraZeneca punya vaksin, diorang tadi yang tak dapat nak mohon sebab bila refresh tak keluar kan, congested. Okay, so the developer behind that scene, diorang yang bertukang lumus. Diorang mungkin dah buat secara betul, coding semua dah betul, tapi apa masalahnya? Kenapa masa nak mohon tu, kenapa ramai yang tak dapat mohon? Sebab congested. Kat situ awak dah face real problem lah. Okay, kat situ pentingnya code optimization pun satu. Mungkin code dia tak optimize. Macam mana nak code dia optimize? Contoh macam tadi soalan nombor 1 tu. Instead of you are using a range, you using the AND operator, you letak satu-satu for a score from the highest score and then put in order until the lowest score. That one is not optimized. So dia akan consume banyak memory, dia akan repeating banyak. Okay, that's why you need to use the AND operator. So kat situ itu kalau you nak belajar lebih lanjut lah pasal optimization. So apa yang awak belajar kat sini adalah semuanya basic. So kalau basic pun awak tak lepas, nanti masa dalam alam pekerjaan awak lagi susah. Sebab itu awak kena jujur pada diri awak sendiri, so dia akan reflect pada diri awak, kemampuan awak sebenar nanti. Okay, so saya harap itu sedikit perkongsian saya lah. Okay, kenapa awak perlu jujur pada diri sendiri, dan kalau ada masalah, kalau tak faham jangan malu untuk bertanya. Kalau segan nak tanya saya, tanya kawan. Okay, ataupun cari apa-apa source yang seboleh mungkin awak dapat cari. Alright? Okay, ada apa-apa soalan tak?
No, doktor.
Okay, kalau tak ada, kita habis setakat ni. Terima kasih. Besok cuti tapi saya akan cuba buat video untuk terangkan pasal lab, dan saya akan publish esok. Okay, insyaAllah. Okay, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon. Have a nice day and keep safe. Okay, hati-hati, jaga diri. Right?
Okay, doktor. Thank you, doktor.
Thank you, doktor.
Thank you, doktor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you,
Doktor.
Doctor.
Thank you, doktor. Thank you, doktor. Thank you.
Doktor.
Ya, okay, siapa yang belum record attendance tolong tulis nama tadi. Saya terlupa pula.
Saya doktor.
Tolong tulis nama awak. Saya takut terlupa.